And a one fish, two fish. And a one fish, two fish. And the red fish, blue fish. And the red fish, blue fish. Adjust the camera a little bit. Adjust the camera a little bit. Am I? A little bit that way. A little bit that way. There we go. Don't want to be behind the flowers though. There we go. Don't want to be behind the flowers though. Okay, so the Twitch echo is good. Let's check the YouTube echo. That is Sacred Sage. Did I close my YouTube? No, there's my YouTube. All right. That is Sacred Sage. Did I close my YouTube? No, there's my... Alright, there's YouTube. I think we're good. Let's do the chat check. Chat check, YouTube. I don't need an exclamation point on that. Okay, let me see. Did that show up over in the Twitch? I can't tell. Yes, it's over on the Twitch. And the chat check on the Twitch. Just double checking because I just installed this the other day. So we're looking over there. Alright, I think I'm good. Those are Twitch chat, Chris Cox, chat check. I think I'm good. That thing that says Twitch chat, I should maybe shorten that up a bit. And what do we got over on the Twitch? I'm going to take care of that later off stream. But I think while we're here, that is still Sacred Sage again. This is Twitch. Twitch says YouTube chat. Maybe I should just say YT. Hopefully that makes sense. And maybe if I can find a shorter username. I should have used the same thing on both. But I wasn't really thinking about it when I signed up for the Twitch bot. I'm going to see if I can actually get Chris Cox bot as a username over on Twitch. We'll look at that. Anyhow, we are still working on the swimsuit. So far, what is this? This puts us about 11 streaming hours in on the project. And this is where we left off. This is going to be, I'm going to do most of this on stream. We'll do promos and things will probably be done mostly off stream. Because I tend to see a little bit of naughty bits when I'm doing those. And, but we're making good progress. Where did we leave off? I think we were able to get most of the textures made in Substance. And we got all the basic body morphs and adjustment morphs. I have to tweak some of the adjustment morphs, so we're going to do that. And this mesh, yeah, I'm going to do a render on that. It's too light. I don't like the way it's too thin. We're going to tweak that. So we're going to pop over to the Substance real quick. First things first, we're going to do that. We'll just do a little render though to see where we are. I think we'll start the special morphs. So, oh, and I'm getting this little jagged there, and it's because I put tries on these edges. We can fix that. There's a setting for that. So right there, this mesh, it is just too light. It's almost not there. So we're going to go tweak that. I'm going to close this. Yes. And I got a heater on because it's just a little cool for me. I don't know, I've been feeling chilly. Blood circulation, not good. Anyhow, alright, do that. And actually I'm going to set up it has to do with the smoothing. The reason we're getting those little jaggies. Did I already close it? I'm going to re-render it. That is a refresh over on Twitch. That is not what I wanted. There, that is a render in DAZ. So I'm going to just let that cook real quick, just so I can see what I'm doing. Right here, this is caused by these being tries. And I made it tries because I'm getting really weird long polys on those thin strips. But we can fix it. There's a smoothing method. So I'm going to just stop that, and yes. And then we're just going to come back over here, and we're going to change the smoothing method on these. Yo, DJ Ray, how are you doing? And I forgot what I'm doing already. We're going to do that. We're going to come over here to mesh resolution. We're going to switch this from cat mark to, I don't know, maybe bilinear, I think. Now I'm going to do the same thing down here. Cat mark to bilinear. I'm going to have to remember to memorize these. And we've got to make sure to do this for the Genesis 8 one eventually too. But now we'll check the render. All good. You're always smooth. All right, there we go. You can see the difference between the smoothing methods. There is the default, and you can see that little jaggy edge, and then I switch the smoothing method, and now it's nice and straight. And so I'm going to go with that for this outfit. Okay, we are going to go fix this mesh. So we'll play with that just a little bit. All right, I don't need to see this anymore. Cancel that. Open up substance. Oh, look at that. It's already opened. Let's get, I did not open up the file though. I should have done that. Acvo Swim. There we go. Everybody, check out our good friend DJ Ray. He's got the dance floor back up. I saw that. Is it DJ Ray? Is that what I say? Yep. Did that go over? I'm wondering, did that... Chris is checking his YouTube. Nope, that command did not go over there. I wonder if I got, I can probably, you know what, I can update my commands. I'll probably end up doing that. I still have to streamline stuff. We're doing the mesh. Let's turn the dirt off. Let me figure out, is that my mesh layer? That is my mesh layer, and what I want from here is just the, I don't need to see this. What I really want to see is the opacity map on that. So this we want to be stronger, faster, better. So I think I think I was using one of the. Okay, so there's these alphas here and here. I might want to, you know what, I'm going to duplicate this. So when we render this one, it's just too thin. So I have a thicker mesh here. We're going to try that. So I'm just going to take, I'm going to turn that off for a second. I'm thinking I might want to blend these. That did not seem to do what I wanted it to do, because that just went into the height map. I also want to put it into the opacity map. There we go. That might work better. Or I might want to blend the two together a little bit. Let's take a look. We're going to redo our mesh. We're going to re-export this. Control-Shift-E. I'm still doing 6 channels. Export. I'm going to pop over to here because I've already forgotten what we call these. I am looking at this bump map. Says underscore mesh underscore height. Okay, so that's what I need to do. So we're going to rename these. And I am replacing swim underscore with swim underscore mesh underscore. Swim underscore mesh underscore should be good. Apply that. Pop back over to here. And I don't need the color. I just need the height, the normal, and the opacity. And Control X those. And we go pop over here. I'm going to just take this and browse and paste. And it should complain that I have 3 destination 3 with the same name. Excellent. So we'll replace those. Cancel that. I should get a refresh on this. I might not. There it is. All right, let's see how that looks when we render. And I'm probably going to be turning that heater on and off as I get too hot and too cold. I like that better, but I think I want the pattern to be maybe just bigger now. All right, so we're gonna take the tiling down a little bit, and then we'll resave that and try that. These I don't need. That's garbage. That did not go away. I hit delete. What am I? I hit delete. Nothing happens. Wow. All right, let's make this a little larger. Let's come over here to the tile and I don't know, maybe we'll say 120. $120 might do the trick. Let's try that. Let's export that out. 6 channels, export. Open up the output directory. Is there a reason why those, now they delete? Okay. And I don't need the color. I don't need, so I gotta, alright, no, I don't need this roughness, I don't need this color, and I don't need that color. And then I have my height, my normal, and my opacity, so we're going to rename those. And this is already set up, so I just have to hit apply this time. And we just do a little Control X. And I'm just going to find that directory we're putting stuff in. I think we're still in the beach party. Yo, Charles, how are you doing today? CS Bond in the house. Bye bye. I'm going to pay attention in a minute. And he didn't even have to, I don't have the command yet for you to shout at me. I'm in the beach party. I'm going to the sporty swim. We're going to go to the runtime, textures, me, swim, and paste, and it should complain that I've got 3 files with the same name. And we want to replace those. And we're going to pop back over to the DAS. I'm going to hit the refresh. We're going to see if this is looking a little better. Doing okay, just got home from work. Oh, dang. Uh-oh. Good luck with that. So hopefully we'll see you Monday. Is that looking okay? I think that's going to resolve out. I got the weird blurry spot, but I think that's just from the shady. There it goes. I think I'm going to go with that. I think I'm going to use that for my mesh. We may tweak it, but I think for right now that's going to be fine. All right, we'll stop that. We're done playing with this. And we're going to move on to whatever is next on the list of fun things to do. Would you like to cancel this render? Yes, we would like to cancel this render. Thank you very much. We want to set up all the materials. That's next on it. This is going to be the tedious part. This is where we load stuff up and we save material files. And I'm going to set up material files that'll work with either the top or the bottom. So to do that, we're going to bring in an OBJ file that is the top and the bottom combined. And that way, and it'll have all the material names, and that's what we really need. We just need an object with the material names. They don't even have to be in the right place. They just have to have the right name. And we just have to make sure we use the right files for this. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to hide We just hide our little Genesis here for a while. So we're just going to make material files. This will get exciting. I'm going to actually and I think we'll run to the thumbnails while we're at it. So we're going to resize this, save it as the thumbnail file. So DAS, and by thumbnails I mean I'm going to render out the tip files and then we resize those later. So we're going to come over here and we're going to set this up to be a DAS tip file. I'm going to load and I'm going to try to figure out what color we want in the background. So we're setting that stuff up now. So over here, general, my tip files need to be 256 by 256. So we're going to do that. Should be good. I'm going to pop over into my content library. I'm going to hide that for a second because I don't know where I left off. And then I'm going to navigate. I don't think you can see. You may not. There we go. Content library properly. So we're going to navigate over to our render settings or our light settings. And I'm going to find a suitable background for all the thumbnails. We'll use one of those Cake One folders. Where am I? I'm looking for light presets. Light presets. There we go. And I've got this organized into the array. Click in renders. All right. I end up not using the black and white ones much. I don't know why. They just don't sing to me. This is the ones I use a whole lot, but I think maybe we'll take a look at the pastel sets. I think we'll go with maybe one of these. Maybe this one here. Let's take a look. We're going to load in an OBJ that has the top and the bottom together, so we'll do that now. And we can go grab the one we used for substance. Over in here. This one right here is a combination of the top and the bottom with all the materials. So it should be good to go. So I'm going to open that up. This all should be good. And then we're just going to set this up. And we can go from here. So we're faking the sliders back here with displacement and transparency maps. So we got to set that up a little bit separately. So anyhow, let's do this. So I'm just going to grab all of this. I think these are all good. The only problem is I think I have to I redid this right here. So we're going to do a quick fix on this. Right here. These I reassigned to the trim material. So we're going to take care of that right now. Tool settings. And what did I just say? Straps trim. That becomes straps trim. So I'm just going to assign that to straps trim. And then we got to do the same thing over here. So after making this, I decided I wanted this to also be a little trim piece here. So that's the reason why it's a little weird looking, but it does what I need it to do. All right, now we're good. I'm just going to clear my selection, and we should be good to go. All right, everything is selected. Let's get my base shaders on here. So this is a base shader that just basically hides a lot of stuff and makes it easier for me to work with. And we'll do some dragging and some dropping. So here we go. We'll start with the black. We'll do the aqua first. We'll set up the aqua. So first things first, that is our base color. Metallicity, we have a metallic map, so we're going to use that. Goes right there. I got a glossy roughness, so we've got the roughness map in here somewhere. Somewhere in here. Somewhere worn roughness. I don't want that. Go past. There it is. There's the roughness map. Goes right there. I'm going to just turn that up to 1. All right, now we have our base bump and base normal. So we're going to start with the spandex. So there is the, and I don't call it spandex, I just use the bases here. So we'll put that into the bump. Where's my normal map? That's the mesh normal map. Oh, there it is, way down there. Okay, now we need our displacement map and our opacity map. There's my opacity. So there's just a little bit of opacity on the spandex. And then the displacement map. There it is. The displacement map is right there. Should be good. So the only thing is we need to add right here this cutout opacity. I have to swap that out. Actually, for the sliders right here, the sliders, the opacity map's just a little bit different. I should probably combine them together, but I didn't do that because I'm a slacker that way. So somewhere in here is a slider opacity map. Probably underscore slider. Sliders, opacity. There we go. Now we should be good to go. So if we come back, we can see how the sliders, you can't really see it here. Oh, yes, you can. The very edge of these is now opaque. So I think we're good. I'm going to set this up. We're going to save it. And then we're going to start saving out material files. So we have this set up. So this is just a matter of changing the colors for all the spandexes. Then we have to reset stuff for the worn spandex. Then we have to reset stuff up for the metallics. We're going to do a silver and a gold. And then there's the worn metallics. And then we're also going to set up an opacity with the mesh. So that's what we're doing right now. This is good. Let's do a quick render and see what we're looking at. We're going to turn off the CMS because that makes things a lot faster when saving. Do I like that color? Is my lighting good? I think that's going to be okay. All right, so we're just going to start cranking these out. Let's come back over to, we're going to move over to our content library so we can kind of watch these as we go. Templates, nope, people, yep. And it doesn't make any difference. The same material files can be used on the Genesis 8 or the Genesis 9. So I might as well just do these over here. Materials, there we go. I think we're good. All right, I'm turning off the content management system, so we're going to pop over here to smart content. Where did my smart content go? Chris lost his smart content. It's supposed to be right about here. Apparently I touched something. All right, we gotta, pains. Smart content, there it is. Okay, I don't know how I got that hidden by accident. Anyhow, it's back, but we're gonna turn it off. Stop that. I'm just gonna do it the smart way. I don't know what difference it makes. But smart just sounds smarter. All right, we are here. This is going to be... I might make some for the camera, but what are we going to call this? AS... Aqua. AS Aqua. Let's try that. AS Swim Aqua. I'm still, once I get this pattern set up, we'll be good. So AS are the code letters for the project. You know what? I'll just say Aqua Swim Aqua, and I think I misspelled Aqua because I put an R in there and I don't need that. And I might make other colors for the cameras, but I don't know. I haven't decided yet. All right, we don't have it. If I was using the real clothes, I would uncheck simulation settings, but this has no simulation settings on it, so we are pretty much good. Hey, LePew, how are you doing? I'm making material files for our swimsuit. So we're just going to hit accept, and we've got our thing, and we'll just render out the thumbnail. And the thumbnail is done, and now we're just gonna, well, actually that's the tip file. We will turn it into a thumbnail later. I'm gonna just save that out to not promos, beach party, sporty swim, people, Genesis 8, clothing, me, Aqua Swim, and materials, and we're going to overwrite that file right there and say yes. Okay, and eventually what we're going to do, and eventually I'm going to turn this into the thumbnail. So just a real quick overview. We resize this to be 91 by 91. And then I just got to rename that to be this with a PNG. So we have a way to do that too. So I'm just going to get rid of that stuff and that. So when we end up with a little file like that, come over here, refresh, and there we go. There's our little thumbnail. There's our little tip file, and we're ready to cook. I'm going to go catch those all up. By the way, I don't think I did the Charles shout out. There's the Charles shout out. Hasn't been streaming, but you can still go check out that Discrod. Anyhow, let's do, I think I have like 5 or 6 more of these to do. So we'll knock those out. So it's back to Surfaces tab. Select all of this, and we're just going to swap out these colors and save them. So next up is black. And how is this ordered? Is this ordered in any way? Let's try to reorder that. View, sort by, I think it is sorted by name. Actually, if I sort by date, it might work out better that way. Yeah, I'm thinking sorting by date's going to be better. Because there's all my colors. Anyhow, there's the black. Let's save that. File. I remember how to do this. Material preset is what I'm looking for. Black. Accept. Render. Boy, that light really makes that look funny. Boy, that really looks transparent in that light too, doesn't it? And then save. And we overwrite that tip file and say yes. And then go on to the next one. Let's get the yellow out of the way. There we go. Save that. Material preset. over that, call it yellow. And accept and render the tip file. Isn't this exciting? That's okay, it goes on for longer. Oh, the anticipation. Save you over that. Yes. You know, I could probably do it this way as well. Although this isn't ordered. Let's reorder you by date. That might help things. And then if I switch you back to extra large, yeah, that works. And then we're on red. Do over that. Accept. Remember to render the thumbnail. If I forget, that's no biggie. I normally will do these all at the same time towards the end. But today I'm just going to do these. So I'm saving last renders when I'm doing there. We did the Yaku already, so we're on the neon green. I'm replacing that. Nope. The pink. Do I have a white in here? I do have the whites right there. Okay. I think those are all the colors I got. What did I just do? I did the pink. I haven't saved the pink. That's my problem. That's why I can't find the thumb. Let's save that. Pink. Yep. All right. I think I rendered this already, so I should be able to just save it over that. And I think we need to just get the white out of the way. And I know it looks like light gray. Save that and render the tip file. Looking good. Overwrite that one. Okay, so I think that's my basic jersey. Am I missing? Did I do another color? I didn't. I think I just limited down to 3 neons, black, white. Actually, there's like 4, right? Black, white, red, and actually like these, and then these. I think I stopped at 7. Keep myself from going insane. Because now we're going to do worn versions of the jersey. And for that, we're going to swap out the... Oh no, my metallicity map's missing. Damn it. I have to resave all of these. Oh, oogly boogly. I could have sworn I dropped that in there too. Ah. All right, you know what? I'm just going to I'm going to re-render these too because it'll probably make a little bit of a difference. I forgot to save you. That really does kind of make a difference, doesn't it? Do I need to like gray you out a little bit? Let me check my render settings. Is my set? It is set to 14. DAS has a bad tendency of blowing stuff out. Also, I have too many lights in here. I guess I wanted to re-render these anyhow. Let me see. You know what? I'm going to turn my light set off, and we're just going to use whatever the... and then I got to just redo these because we screwed them up. And by we, I mean me. Material preset. This is the aqua, so I'm just going to overwrite aqua. It looks a little blown out. Let me, you know what? I'm going to maybe add a little bit of gray into that. Reset. Let's see how that's looking. It's probably going to be okay. All right. Of course, now that I've added gray, I got to resave the material file. I don't think I have to add anything to the black. But we do got to put that metallicity map on. Where are you? Dum, 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 dum. Something in here should be... There it is. I don't think that really made a big difference. You think I would remember where that was? All right, let's see how we're rendering. I might add a touch of gray into this as well. Maybe just a little touch. I should have did that first before saving it. Yeah, I think I'll go with that. I'm doing the neon green. Okay, let's see how the pink is. Oh, I didn't update the metallic on that yet because I'm going too fast. I'm already way ahead of my... That is a normal map. That is a metallic map. Let's see how you look. You know what? The pink's not too bad. I think I'm just going to leave that as is. So update that. Resave this. Moving along. The red's probably doesn't need the touch of gray because of the color, but I do have to put that fix on in my metallic map. Save that. Over that. Yes, I'm just going to redo the thumbnail. Probably doesn't really make a big difference. Okay, the white, totally going to add a little bit. So my white's a little on the gray side anyhow, so I may not need to tweak that. We'll take a look. I might want to add a little. It still might get a little blown out even though I made it light gray. No, actually, that's looking white. That's looking like a quite right white. So I'm just gonna save the tip file, resave the material file, and then I'm probably gonna need to touch up a little bit of gray into the color here with this yellow though. I forgot the Metallic file again. If it's getting a little blown out, it's a little blown out. I think we'll add a little bit of gray into there. And my tone mapping isn't particularly bright. Let's see how that's looking. It's looking better. Okay, we're going to go with that. So I'm going to save that tip file. And then we're going to oversave the material file over the yellow. And okay, now we're going to move on to the warns. So we're going to swap this out for a worn version of the metallicity map. You know what? That's looking more or less the same. So I'm not going to. I'm actually just going to. Oh, no, wait. There's a little bit of difference here in the metallics. So we are going to use this. It's hard to see, and it's the only thing that's actually metallic. But the sliders. There's a little bit of difference in the metallicity on the sliders on the worn version than there's on this. Glossy roughness gets adjusted for the worn version. So in here, I'm looking for something right there. It says warm roughness. So we're going to go with that. I think I also redid the opacity map a little bit. My displacement map got lost again. Damn it. I'm going to have to redo all of these. I'm not going to redo those thumbs, though. I don't think that... You're not really going to be able to spot the displacement map on there, I don't think. That's annoying. I set that up. I must have re-wiped that out or something by accident. I'm looking for my displacement map. There it is. Set you to 6. I'm gonna quickly resave, but we're gonna do the worn versions first since I'm already hooked up for that. I don't have to change the bump or the normal for the worn versions. We have updated the roughness. I did make a worn opacity map, so I'll use that. I think it's just a little less opaque. And I think I might have to redo this now. And somewhere in here it was a... Not the measure, something opacity. Sliders. There we go. I need the slider opacity on that. There we go. I moved my camera. Okay. And now we do the worn colors. And they're all sitting up here. And I'll start with worn aqua. And I just did the one. Let's do all of them. And that's how the worn aqua is going to look. All right. I think I'm going to rename these Aqua Swim 01 color, and then we'll do Aqua Swim 02 worn, yada yada. That way it groups them better. So we're going to do, what am I doing? I'm saving a material preset here. Is it going to be Aqua? I'm going to call this 02 worn Aqua. And it should be good there. I'm in a little close. Let's center you up a little bit better. And these we're going to rename. I'll just rename them now. Nope. 01. Rename. Trophy. And rename. And okay. Okay, this way all my colors here. And then we have all the warrants that'll just come in after that. Okay, so I saved that. I haven't rendered the thumb on it yet, though. I don't know, you might be able to see the displacement map on that, but I can't tell. And then save that. All right, moving along. I think we'll do black next. Is good. All right, whatever's after black, I don't know. Neon green, maybe. Saving without the content management system is just so much faster. It doesn't spend a day writing stuff to the database. All right, what's next? Pink. All right, looking good. Saving that, yep. All right, we are on to the red. All right. I think what, white or yellow? I see yellow next. And the white, and that finishes up the warns. All these dirty, dirty swimsuits. Saving the material file. Call you white. I'm getting cold again. So I'm going to turn that heater on. Hopefully the noise isn't too loud. Alrighty. I have to fix the displacement maps on the other one, so I think we'll... Dang it! I accidentally moved my thumbnail a little bit. Oh well. It'll be a little inconsistent. Okay, so I'm going to fix these because I accidentally left the displacement maps off of them. And then we are going to do the metallics, and then I have to do the worn metallics. So here we go. What am I doing? I don't know. I'm going to fix these. I think I'm at fixing these. I saved the white. I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's browse to the folder and take a quick look. I've already forgotten what I've done. I did not save the white. Did I render the white? I may not have rendered the white. I did render the white. Okay. Okay, so these... Oops. That does not have my displacement map, so I gotta put my displacement maps on these. Dangity dang it. And I gotta set that to 6. And then I just have to resave. And I'm taking a quick look, and I probably forgot something else too. So we just apply, get our displacement map in here, set the sub displacement to 6, and then resave. 3, 4, I should really add a, and I might have a button over here for saving materials. I've already forgotten what it is. Actually, is that the button right there? This might help if I can remember. Save a new shader preset, figure support asset, new material preset. There we go. I actually have a button, so I don't have to navigate. I'm going to remember to use this button. Did I already save this? I did not. This is the pink. There we go. And set that. And hit the button. And overwrite the red. And yes. And looks good. And do the white. Choose the displacement. Set the displacement level. I probably should set that in my base shader. Save me a couple of clicks. Click on the button instead of navigating. This is, I think this is the white. This was the white, yes. And the yellow, and then I'm caught up, and then we can get the metallics knocked out. I'm getting the displacement map, that's right. Hit the secret button, choose yellow, save, yes, looking good. All right, do I want to, I think I'm just going to set up the, we'll do those later, actually. We're going to do some opacity maps. And I'm going to have one, we're going to set it up so you can set it up with no opacity map. We're going to set it up with the mesh opacity. Do I want to set it up with the mesh opacity? I am going to set it up with the mesh opacity. So no opacity, spandex opacity, and a mesh opacity. But it will just basically turn the whole thing opaque or not opaque. And then I need to save a version with just the displacement map on and off. Those are going to be specials that'll be at the beginning. But right now we're still working on colors. So we are through this. We are ready to do the metallics. So let's take a look. So we have a gold and a silver metallic maps. That says gold. Somewhere in here, something that says silver. I should have metallic. There we go. I'm going to swap you out for... I'm going to do gold first. And then we're going to put a... there's a metallic roughness right there. That really dark color will make it nice and shiny. Okay, let's see if I got a metallic. Metallic height map is right there. And a metallic normal map should be in the ballpark. Right there. Let's see. My displacement map got a little weird. Did I screw that up again? Okay, the metallic does not use a... Here's my displacement map. Set that. So we should be good. So this is going to be AS Aqua Swim 01 Gold. Do I want to call it that? Yep, I think I'm going to do that. And use your button, Chris. So we're going to do 01. I'm going to say gold. And we accept that. And let's see how this looks. This is nice and golden and shiny. I know it can be a little hard to see. Yeah, I think that's going to do the trick. This takes a little bit longer because it's so shiny. And then we just swap out the gold map for the silver map in here for the color. Let's see, where did my gold go? Right there. And we pop over here, browse. That one right there says silver. Now we just save that. Over here. Render the silver map. Or the silver material. And I'm probably going to use this as like a trim for the most part. I think. And also I'm going to do mix and matches when we do the hierarchy materials. And I think I might do maybe 8 to 16. So basically we're going to do like 4 to 8 base versions, and then we just do the worn version of that. And my brain stopped. I'm rendering that. Did I already render that, didn't I? I thought I did. I guess I didn't. I didn't save it though. I am saving it. I'm saving it right now. That's what we're doing. Duh. There it is. All right, let's do the worn versions of the metallics. There is a worn metallic metallicity map in here somewhere. We're just going to have to figure out where that is. Metallic roughness, worn, metallic. There we go. So I want to swap that out. We want to swap this color out for the worn silver. Worn silver. And then we're going to change the glossy roughness for the worn metallic glossy worn roughness right there. I think that was good. Let me just double check that because I wasn't paying too close attention. Metallic worn roughness, there we go. That is good. Okay, then we're going to save that. over one of these warns. So you're the silver, the worn silver. Render that thumbnail. Okay, save that. Right there. And then we're going to do the gold. There's a worn gold in here somewhere. Right there. And I think that's fine. And we're going to swap that out for this. Okay, now I'm going to set this up. We're going to save out just versions with and without the displacement map. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a generic shader. I'm just going to put my generic silk on here to start with. And we'll just change the color to this generic gray. And then I'm just going to dial in my displacement map. Bump, 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 bump. Where did you go? Where did you go? And I'm going to... Actually, let's say none to begin with. We're just going to come over here and do a material preset. This is a really tedious material setup. Here we're going to do Aquo Swim. And I'm going to change this exclamation point displacement off. And then I just have to come through here. Save, save, save. Then we're just going to uncheck everything. And then here, I got to come down to the geometry and turn on the displacement for all of these. And we're going to do this twice. One with it off and then one with it on. And then I got to kind of do the same thing for the opacity maps. So we're going to do... I'm not going to do an opacity off, but we're going to do an opacity full, spandex opacity, and a mesh opacity. And the mesh opacity is going to be really tedious. Because I think it's also going to include a bump and a normal map. And what was I doing? I'm doing displacement maps. So, get your coffee. Time to take a break. This takes a little while. I have some tricks to make these faster, but by the time I remember how to do it, I might be done with this if I just bear through it. Although I think for the opacities, I might tweak it a little bit. We'll see how that works out. No, I'm not. I'm just going to do it this way. We're getting there. I wish there was a setting that would just allow me to grab a whole bunch of these at the same time. But I don't have that as a save option. At least not that I'm aware of. Alright, there's the last one. Okay, there we go. Displacement off. Now we're going to do displacement on. So we're going to get a displacement map going in here. And we're going to just put that. Nope. Turn that on. Set that to 6. It is 6. And then save it here with a displacement map on. And then I should render to the thumbnails. So we're going to do this again. Material preset. Displacement on. And then I just got to kind of just do what we did. Uncheck all. You're getting there. Nope. Yep, there we go. My eyes are crossing. Slowly but surely working these out. Alright, should be good. Let's do a quick. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and we'll do the so you can really see the displacement on the maps here. There you go. You can really see that displacement popping through. So that's going to be the one with the displacement on. And then let's reapply. Activate displacement off. And then let's render that. We'll need to double check and make sure all of these work with my swimsuit. I'm getting a little bit of that in the background there. But here you can see it's all nice and smooth. So that's going to be fine. And then I should make a shader for the mesh, for the opacities. I probably need to stick this down in here. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to save opacity maps here. I'm going to just make a special shader. So I already have, I already have a, these are like some generic opacities. I'm going to also add that mesh in here that we just saved specifically for this outfit. I'll stick that down here in the shaders. And I think I'll stick the opacity for the jersey or for the spandex in here as well. Let's do that. So here I'm just going to do the here. Let's come over here. I'm just going to apply one of the spandexes. So now we have that spandex opacity on here. I'm going to pop over here into the shaders. I'm going to put an exclamation point so it will show up here near the top. Actually, it will show up near here at the top anyhow because I already got exclamation points in there. Anyhow, let's just save this. Is a shader preset. Shader preset. I only want the opacity. And we're just going to call this spandex. Ocvo. Spandex. Is that how you spell spandex? I hope so. Is that doing anything? There it goes. So I just want just want the cutout opacity on this one. And then I think I'm going to just do my mesh. Aquo mesh. I think I'm going to do that. Do I want that to be actually an opacity? I'm thinking. You know what? I might just save this with all the settings except for the color. And then I'm going to kind of do the same thing with the mesh. And I'm just going to call this Aquo Spandex and then Aquo Mesh. Let's do that. I'm going to resave this. I think that's the shader button. And I'm going to rename that. We're not going to call it opacity, but I'm going to overwrite that right now. So basically, I'm going to save almost all of this. We're not going to save that because I have no idea what it does. I do want to save all of this. I don't want to save. Do I want to save the top coat settings? I don't think I want to save the top coat settings. I'm going to double check anyhow. I'm going to come down here to, where's the diffuse? I think I'm not going to save the diffuse. Or do I just want to save just the base color? I think I'm just going to not save the base color. We'll do that. And the top coat. Do I want to turn the top coat off? Or do I just want to make sure I don't? I think I'm just not going to save the top coat color. I think we're going to do that. And then I'm going to save that. I'm going to rename you. So you're just going to be Aquo Spandex. Oh, and my 4-letter code is Aquo, not AS. Damn it. I should just... and then we're just going to set this up for the mesh. So let's set up our mesh. So the mesh just needs we're changing the bump map on the mesh. We're going to change the normal map on the mesh. And we're going to change the opacity on the mesh. And then I'm just going to save that as a shader preset. And I already got my button. That's okay. You're going to be just Aquo Mesh. And then for this, I only want to save my bumps and my opacities. And I'm just going to accept that. All right, now we're going to render these out. Let's select all of this. Let's just put this generic shader on here. I'm just going to switch you back to my slate gray. Is that the gray I usually use? I think that's my generic gray, yep. Let's get that displacement map back on here. I do want to see that. And then I'm going to just switch this to Aquo Spandex. And I'll just do a Control R on that. I'm going to move this a little bit. I don't want that light flashing through here. Okay, that probably should do the trick. Let's re-render that. That's good. And I'm just going to save you over here, over that. Nope, that's the mesh. That's the spandex. Okay, and then I'm going to apply the mesh and render that for the thumbnail. and then save that out. Boing. And good. All right, we're going to fix these. We're going to finish these up. Browse the folder location. I'm going to get rid of these two, and then we're going to take these and resize to thumbnail size. Then we're going to rename the thumbnail name, and I'm using the Power Renamer, and there, that pattern is still in here. There we go, and I can just apply that. If we pop over here, we do a little refresh. Yay! Okay, I'm going to rename all of these Akvo, and we're going to just Akvo swim displacement off. I think that'll work. So I think I already had this folder open. There it is. So I'm going to just rename all of this. We'll just use our Power Renamer for that, and I need to match this. So what I want to replace is this AS Akvo, and I want to replace it with the Akvo all in uppercase. Do that and apply, and it should be good. Okay, now we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to get rid of all the small ones. And we're making the thumbnails. So we're almost done with the materials. I'm thinking of redoing the textures. I think I might want to add threads on here, but I haven't quite decided yet. But we may do that on Monday. So an hour and a half into stream, and we've got the materials pretty much done. We can choose the hierarchy materials later, but right now I think we're making good progress, and my brain has stopped. I'm going to sort this by, I don't know, I just kind of, is there an easy, can we sort by size? Where does that get me? View, sort by size. Does that get me all the little thumbnails grouped together? Mostly it does, yeah. All right, that one's fine. I'm not going to change you. I think they all grouped together. They're all about the same size. Yay. So I'm going to do that. Bye-bye. And then I think these are all nicely grouped together. So I need all of these except that one. Actually, you know what? I am going to get rid of that because I did re-render that tip file. Grab all of those. We'll resize them. Did these all end up together down here? Pretty much. All right, let's rename those. Clean up the names. There's that pattern is still sitting in here. And there. And apply that. And we pop back over to here. We'll do a refresh. Yay, I've got all my thumbnails. We have to do one of these for the camera too. So I should save you as the thumbnail file. Let's do that. File, save as scene. This is projects. Let's go down to promos. Let's actually set up a promo file in here for this. We will eventually need this new. Actually, I think I have a promo file set up in here. Don't I? There it is. It's right there. Akvo. Akvo swim thumbs. I'm going to just save that there. Okay, we're going to double check and make sure that these, I haven't really screwed anything up. It'll make me cry if I did. I should have checked this earlier. Let's see what we have in here. We're going to hide that. I have a copy of Genesis 8 in here, and I'm going to get the latest version just to make sure I'm working off the right page. The swimsuit. There's the bottom. There's the top. We're just going to select this and this. And we'll just come over here to materials and we'll just kind of run through these and make sure they work. So you can select either one or the other, and they should apply equally well. So this way I don't need separate material files for the top and the bottom. You could just use the same one on both, or both together. And I think we're looking good. Okay, so I'm just going to run through both together real quick just to make sure it's kind of looking... I think my transmap isn't loading up right back there. Dang it. I think my metallics are a little off. Yeah, so we're going to have to resave the metallic files. Because probably the silver's got the same problem, right? Yep. This is why we check. The jerseys the spandexes are all okay. And the worn file with the spandex looks good. And that one needs touch up. That's the silver. And I think the gold needed it, right? Yep. Yellow's looking fine. All right, we've got to resave out the metallics. So let's hide you. Let's bring you back. Chris can't see his chat. Save, save, save. I saw that. All right, let's reapply. What did I say, my metallic? So we have to fix the silver. I've got the wrong thing selected. And what I need to do is I need to put an opacity map on that right there. And I don't know, it's probably in here somewhere. Sliders, opacity, there it is. And then I just got to resave that. So this is the silver, 01 silver, I think. Should be good. We'll fix the gold. Slider, opacity, there we go. Overwrite the gold. Okay, then we just got to touch up the two worn versions. There's the worn gold. I'm not going to you can't see those on the thumbnail, so we're not re-rendering the tip files or the thumbnails. We will just let those be. Worn gold, there we go. And then touch up the silver, and I think we're getting good. We're getting there. Bum bum bum. Nope. Slider, opacity, there we go. And one of these should say worn silver. There we are. Okay, I think we're happy with that. All right, what's next? Do we where are we? We're going to check our rigging. We'll do some posing and we'll play with the D4 settings for a little bit. Control R or Control S. Save. Okay, I just loaded in And it's designed to be used for D-force, but I'm going to make it so it doesn't look horrible. I'm not making corrective morphs. I'm not that crazy. And if anybody whines about something with a corrective for a corrective morph, I'm just going to say D-force the fucker. That's what it's designed for. All right, there we go. I think I just loaded these in, but we're going to do it again just to make sure. And I'm double checking. I think we're good. Did I apply it? You got to select that, apply, and apply. All right, I'm going to make this gray for our rigging tests. So I'm just going to come over here and grab all that. I like to use this base silk, and I'm just going to turn that to my gray color. It's just easier to kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to drop my displacement map on here, though. That's the real reason I say that, is because I use it. And now we're just going to try some posing. One of the areas, the really bad areas that almost really need attention for rigging are like the shoulders and the crotch. Everything else probably does not need attention. But you know what? That looks okay. I'm not touching that up. I mean, that's getting a little weird stretchy, but that's... If I start touching that up, I'm going to smooth this out just a little bit, I think, right here. We'll do that. So we're going to use we're going to activate the weight map brush. Here in the scene, we're going to select that top, which is right there. And I am looking at the, what is that? My left collar. We're looking for the left collar over here. Left collar right there. We'll come over into the tool settings. We're going to choose general weight maps. And I'm just going to smooth that out. I have the smooth brush selected. I'm going to adjust my radius a little bit here. 30 and 60 maybe. I like that. And then if I smooth that just a little bit, didn't really do anything. It did a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to do that. It's not a symmetrical mesh, so I'm not using symmetry. I think that'll be fine. Let's get that right collar up. That looks really nice up in there, though. So where am I? I'm over here on this right collar. I'm just going to smooth that out a little bit. I'm going to call that good. So that's all I'm going to do with the top. We'll do some tests with the D-force in just a short bit. All right, now we're going to just check the legs. And then we also want to do this for the Genesis 9. So let's see. See, we can touch that up. It's D-forced, so it shouldn't be a problem. But still, that's just annoying looking, isn't it? And that is the left thigh bend, so we're coming down here. We're on the bottom now. So let's do the left thigh bend, and we're just going to do the same drill. Weight map brush, tool settings, select that into the, and I'm just going to smooth that out so it's not so obnoxious. Just make that look a little better. I'm not overly concerned about getting it perfect. Oh, it would be nice if that were a little smoother looking, wouldn't it? I'm going to check here. Let's just run a sim. So this is the way it's designed to be used. We do have a morph to make the crotch wider. I always include a morph to make the crotch wider and move it side to side. So if that kind of stuff happens and you're a little alarmed, we can fix that. So I mean, that's what it's supposed to do, and that's the reason why I'm not overly concerned about the rigging. All right, I'm just going to smooth out the other side though. Oh, I still have that. Here, we'll clear the sim. Move that over. And I'm just going to smooth that out the same way we just did. You are the right thigh bend. There we go. Just going to smooth you down. So you're not so deformed looking. Even though if anybody complains that it doesn't look right and they haven't deforced it, I'm just going to laugh at them. It's a deforced outfit. Use it the way it's meant to be. All right, I think this is going to be fine. That's probably all I'm going to do for weight maps on this. Let's reset. Reset this, then we're going to check our settings. I have to reset my colors, don't I? I should have saved I'm going to save my my default material settings as a preset. Actually, we're going to tweak that. So I'm going to hide this one for just a second. I got to save these because we made the changes, but because I cleaned off the materials. So I'm going to just hide those, select you, come over here. I want to reload that and that with my materials. I'm going to change this out though for the mesh. So we're going to swap these out for that Avco mesh and go with that. And I think the rest of this is good. And then I'm going to save this as a hierarchical material preset. And we're going to call this Aqua Black and Aqua. And we're just going to save these two right here. Yo, Quasi, thanks for the popping in. Good to see you. All right, I think that is good. Okay, so I'm going to save this. I want to restart my library to save this outfit out again. So we're going to save this, shut down DAS, reopen it, because right now we have smart content turned off. And when I resave these back to the library, I want smart content turned on. And it's always kind of a pain in the ass to do it. I don't know, this just doesn't seem to quite work as well as you would think. At least in my experience. Hey, Matthias, how are you doing? That's the idea with this one project, is I'm trying to just not do much of it, if any, off stream. I mean, I'm going to have to do promos and things off stream. But if you've been watching for the past more than a little week, we have gone from beginning, we're going to go all the way through the more or less being a product. And my brain has stopped because now I've been distracted. I am going to shut down DAS and I'm going to relaunch DAS to get my content library working again. We turned the smart content off to save material files because it goes so much faster with smart content turned off. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to close DAS. Getting online and doing the file transfer from the old laptop to the new one. Nice. And I've got it so that the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat should be seeing in each other, though. It might look a little weird, though. Ooh, the whole day in the garden. All right, I've shut that down. I'm going to close some stuff. I do not need. You know what? I'm done with substance. We can close that down. Put that away. Daz should. You know, sometimes you have to wait for Daz to close, but we didn't have our CMS running, so it should start more or less right away. So when you're shutting down Daz down, sometimes it takes a while to close down the content management system, and that's the reason why sometimes you just can't relaunch right away. But we had it shut off, and hopefully it comes on now. I'm hoping. I see my smart contents there. It looks like it's on. File open recent. Let's get that thumbnail file back in here. I do not want to save that. I got to rename that. I want to capitalize ACFO there. You can see both. Excellent. All right, let's I want to rename this. I don't think I can just capitalize it, but I don't know, maybe Daz is special. Windows won't let you do this. Yeah, Daz isn't special. Daz isn't that special. So what I have to do is I have to actually change the name and capitalize. So I'm going to add 2 spaces. There, now I can capitalize. And now I'm going to get rid of that extra space. There we go. And now it's capitalized the way I actually want it. I don't need that in that, because what we have is this and this. So these are the ones that we tweaked the weight maps on, and I want to resave those. And ideally, if I do that, there we go. My hierarchical material file worked. And now I'm going to save these back out as figure prop. And you know what? I might as well render the thumbs for these now too. Let's hide you. Let's save this. This is going to be the hero texture. That is Meadow Muse. I'm totally in the wrong project here. So we're going to go find our project. It's a beach party, baby. Sporty Swim is what I was calling this before I gave it a name. People, Genesis 8 female, clothing, me, Genesis 8, Acvo Swim. And I think I had the top selected, but I can't tell right now. I did have the top selected. Okay. All right, now we can save this properly with the CMS running. If I didn't have the CMS on, this stuff would be blanked out. It would be confused, and it's annoying. But I get it. This is all CMS information. You are a swimwear, and you are a top, and we're going to accept that. And then we're just going to do the bottom. And right there is the bottom. I hope I'm doing this right. Sometimes I'm not paying attention and I accidentally overwrite stuff. And then I cry for an hour and then I redo it. Well, maybe I don't cry for a whole hour. You are a bottom. All right, let's come over to here. I'm just going to double check these. I'm going to hide those. I'm going to put that over there. And we're just going to make sure the top came in. Looks like the top I saved. The bottom came in. Looks like the bottom. Okay, I think we're good. So we're going to make our thumbnail of the bottom now for the Genesis 8. Then we're going to go tweak the weight maps on the Genesis 9 version. and render the thumbnails for that. You know, at this point, I'm about ready to save this as an outfit. So we're going to reload the camera, and we set this up before, but we're going to have to redo it because I wiped the stuff out. Did that come in right? I can't tell. I'm going to... I didn't... Did my displacement map work on that, or do I have to reset that? I gotta look. I didn't... Because of this black color on here, it's hard to see what I'm doing. Let's just take a quick look. There's my displacement map. It is on. We are good. I think I just did render that thumbnail, so that's probably good. Put that there. You say bottom. I'm going to overwrite that. All right. Hide that. Make that visible. Change my focus. All right, let me just double check my materials on the top. I think I'm fine. We'll do some posing tests in D-Force, but first we're going to tweak the weight maps on Genesis 9, and I think that's going to be good for that. So I'm going to render that. Actually, I'm going to say this is an outfit. Boy, that really looks transparent there, doesn't it? I might adjust the opacity map on that spandex. Yo, Art, how are you doing? And that goes over that tip file. Okay, we have... I'm going to attach the camera to this right now. And then I'm going to save this as an outfit. And actually, let's get the camera in here and let's save the thumbnail for the camera. That is, I'm in the wrong thing. There we go. I'm going to check my render settings, environment. Am I rendering the ground? I am drawing the ground. All right, we are not drawing the ground now. Control R for the camera. You got to make me a tester in that department, because if it can pass you, it will pass for you mean testing the D-Force settings? It's all good, Charles. I think that's good. I might tweak this button. There's a little bit of a gap there. I'm going to update this geometry just a little bit because I got a little bit of a gap right there on that button. So I'm going to break that. Actually, that thumbnail's probably okay though. But I don't know if you can see it, but it's annoying me. I should have put those buttons down a little bit further or put something inside of them. So we're just going to slide these down so they touch a little bit better. I think we can just do that with Blender real quick. And that should just be a simple update geometry fix. And then we just resave the camera back out as a figure prop asset. And it should be good. Open recent. Do I have my camera in here? There's the camera. That is the one that went to Substance. This is the one that went to Daz. So we're just gonna tab into here. Come over to here. I'm gonna look at that from the front. And I'm just gonna slide that down. Just like that. And I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And that should be good. I hope this works. Tab out, select all of this, activate the export. I'm going to call you camera 2 just in case. Also, it makes it easier to spot the one that's changed. Let's make sure I'm using my DAZ preset, so I'm only sending out what I've got selected, and export. And we pop back over to here. I got my camera selected. I'm going to update the geometry. I have a button for this on the side, but if you don't have a button, you do it from up here. Let's see if I can remember how you do this. You're in the scene tab. You come up here. I think you do edit, geometry, update base geometry. There you go. So we're going to look for that geometry. We're just updating vertex positions. So right there is the one we just saved. Open that. Accept. Fingers crossed. Yay! They moved. They're good. It's all good. I just need to resave this as a figure prop asset. Boom. And I'm going to save you right there. I'm going to say yes. You are a prop. And what are my categories for props? I don't think there is one. I think I could either call this electrical or other. I think I just settled on other. Although, does it make more sense to be electrical? Are you thinking cameras when you think electrical props? I'm going to just go with other. I think I'm just going to stick with other. And then we'll accept that. And there we go. Okay, we fixed the camera. And now we're going to attach the camera to the strap on the top. We're going to use that with a... Also, I wanted the knob to be on the other side. You know what? I'm going to put the camera over here on the right side. Where is my swimsuit? Is my swimsuit visible? Yep. So I'm going to attach the camera to this right strap. So we're going to set up a rigid follow node on here and just attach the camera to that. And then when I save, so we're going to save the whole outfit, top to bottom, and the camera all together. And then they should load all together. So, you know what? Let's put the camera maybe right there. So activate the geometry editor, and I'm getting chilly again, so activate the heater. So I'm going to select that. I don't know what I clicked on, but it wasn't what I was trying to click on. Oh, that's the Genesis 8. I clicked on the Genesis 8. We want the top. And then I want maybe that face right there, I think will be good. Or do I want to put this up a little higher? Maybe right there. I think I'm just going to put it right there. So we're going to go into geometry assignment and create a rigid follow node. That might be following off the screen. Let's try. If I can do this a little higher, maybe we can see what's going on. There we go. Create a rigid follow node from selected. I always call my nodes node underscore and then whatever it is, camera. That's just my naming convention. Okay, I have this. I'm going to have to figure out where this gets attached to. So that is on the right collar, and we're putting this on the swimsuit. So I'm looking for the right collar over here. Right collar, there we go. So I'm going to take this node and parent it to the right collar. Okay, now I'm going to do some stuff to help keep this node from moving around too much. So first things first, I'm just going to zero out my rotations. Hey, my rotations are all 0. Excellent. We're going to hide the node because you don't need to see it. Actually, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to set these rotations up so they can't change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edit mode. Hopefully this works. We're going to select these, and we're going to set the min and the max on those to 0 and 0, and accept that. And now I'm going to memorize this. Memorize selected item. Now I'm going to lock it down. Lock selected nodes. I'm going to hit memorize again because I don't know if I need to or not. I should actually play around with that and see what it does. All right. And now we can attach our camera to this node. Oops. So I'm going to take that. What the frick? Stop. I'm going to take that and drag. No. Oh, I'm selecting the wrong thing. There we go. All right, that is now on here. We're going to pose this, and then we're going to memorize it so it doesn't change. So when I render, I use like 1.5 millimeters of displacement. So I'm going to kind of take that into account, putting our camera on there. Where's the center point of my camera? Why are you way down there? I'm going to, oh, I know what's going on. Control Shift F. There we go. All right. I'm just going to pose this camera on here. So because of this clip, it's going to sit kind of like that. And it's going to clip on kind of like that. There's a little bit of a rotation there. So I think I'm going to just rotate that a little bit. I'm going to set you maybe in about here. We're going to double check. I think maybe I'm going to just rotate. Now if I switch over to this, now I'm going to go back to this. My universal tool is designed to align with the object, kind of in a local space. I'm going to rotate you just a hair like that. And I'm just rotating the clip. All right, now the camera is just kind of looking off into space, so we're going to adjust that. So if I move you like so, and then I can get this clip one and rotate that back down. And I think that's going to be okay. I'm going to tweak the renders a little bit on that. What's going on there? I think something got loose on the camera. You know what? My rigging is a little off on the camera, I think. I think something doesn't have a weight map or something attached to it. I think all right, we're going to fix that. I got to switch over to something where I can actually see what I'm doing. Oh, you are supposed to be in here, but I bet you don't have a weight map for in here. So I'm going to need to fix this. I'm going to save this as a pose right now, and we'll come back to it. So my camera's a little broken. I'm just going to do that and save that. And then I'm going to reset the camera and fix it. Sorry, I thought my phone was making noise. Okay, so what my problem is apparently there's this little piece right in here. When I was rigging it, I didn't weight map it, so it's not moving with the rest of the stuff it's supposed to be moving with. I think we can just fix that and just save it out real quick. And there's the clipping plane. That is annoying. Okay, I think that is part of probably, I want to say clip 2. That's supposed to be part of clip 2, but it isn't. All right, that might be part of the problem. We're going to go into the geometry editor here to fix this. I'm just going to select those, and then geometry selection. There's the select connected. I'm going to make sure that this is assigned to clip 2. So we're coming over here to the tools for the geometry. Right there, that says clip 2. So I'm going to assign that. Okay, so now that's part of clip 2. And let me make sure the weight map is set up right for these. So camera knob. So this should be come in here, general weight maps. You see how that's not red, so that's not following either. So what we'll do is we're just going to do geometry selection, select by face group, clip 2. Did that not work? Weight editing, fill selection. No, it looks like for some reason it didn't go. Did I not assign you to clip 2? Let's try that again. Geometry selection, select by face group, clip 2. Okay, apparently I didn't do what I thought I did. Fill selection. There we go. We should be good now. I'm just going to geometry selection, clear all, and let's just save that back out. Right here. Should be good. Alright, camera has been fixed. What did I say? Props, others. Is that what I was calling this earlier? Accept that. Alright, and then I should just be able to reapply my pose. And the camera is back to where it was. Okay, yay. I'm going to get rid of this. Actually, I'm going to cut that. I'm just going to move this to the upper, or I won't save it later. Alright, I think I'm good. I want to do a render just to see how we're looking on our displacement. Ideally, I would like it to kind of pop up over this back clip. So we're going to tweak this until it renders right. Dum dum dum. You know what? I'm going to switch. All right. Hopefully this doesn't kill stream, but we're going to switch over to iRay in here. I'm going to try to. Wow, that is a bright light back there, isn't it? Okay, you can see the displacement kick again. So I want to slide this just down inside the displacement a little bit. So I think I can, what am I going to do? I think I can adjust this maybe a little bit. I think maybe not quite that much. Let me see if I can get this to be larger while I'm working on it. Okay, I want to tweak this just a little flatter is what I'm looking at. So I could probably just do this with the parameters. And the only thing, I've had my hidden showing, but if you didn't have your hiddens on, it would look something like that. So the only thing you really see is this rotate. So I'm just going to rotate that a little bit. Is it probably, I'm going to maybe slide the, no, that's about right because my clip's here. I think we'll bring the camera back just a little. Maybe I just called you 3.5. Maybe 3. And then I just want to slide you back ever so slightly, probably on a little bit on the Y. So if I do that, it probably goes back too far. Okay. So I'm going to just slightly adjust this, like a millimeter. A little bit more maybe. That's a half a millimeter back. Did I do that right? Where's my Z-trans? 0.65 is what I wanted. All right, and then I'm just going to... Actually, this is the one I need to adjust. So, you know what? We're going to rotate... Actually, I'm going to rotate you. And I don't think I needed to do that. And then we're just going to push you back a little. Maybe not that far. You know what? I think that might be good. Let's see how this looks on the figure, though. I want to make sure I'm not pushing into the Genesis 8. I'm going to tweak you up just a little bit, I think. I think I'm just about... Yeah, I'm clipping into the figure right there. All right, let's just pull you back out a little. And then I'm going to probably call that good. I'm probably getting too neurotic with this. Let's try 0.5. See if that extra millimeter gets me out of the... I'm inside. I don't see anything poking through. So we're probably good. All right, I'm going to call that the camera position. So we're going to memorize that. And then we're going to save this outfit. And you're probably going to have to adjust this anyhow when you render. Just put a smoothing modifier on it. And have it collide with the camera. Is that it? Wouldn't that be cool? I think I'm good. All right, I'm going to turn the iRay off. I don't know how the stream's doing. Back to texture shaded. I'm going to memorize the camera right now. I have a button for that. Let's see how well that works. Memorize figure settings. There we go. And I think I'm ready to save this as an outfit. So that's the way the full load outfit should kind of come in. I'm going to go with that. So let's do this. Let's select that. Let's come back over here to the content library. Let's go back to where we were. Then we're going to kind of do this stuff with the Genesis 9 and get it working. I'm going to hit this. We're going to save this as a wearable preset. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to rename these a little bit. I see Charles said something, but I can't see it right now. Actual outfit, G8 female, looking good. Don't you have a thumbnail for the whole set? We're making the thumbnail for the whole set now. I think this is good. There's the bottom, there's the top, there's our node, and there's our camera attached to the node. So this is what's getting set. If I had any posing that I needed to do, if I had shoes with feet poses, I would use this, but we aren't doing that, so I can just get away with this. Now we're going to make our thumbnail. Okay, see how long this is taking? This is because we have the CMS on. And we're also going to do some, you know what, I might need to resave this camera. Yeah, it's visible in the simulation, and I actually don't want it to be. So before we save, I'm going to resave the outfit. We're going to turn that off. I'm going to rememorize this because I don't want the camera actually playing with the cloth. That will probably be bad. I'm going to re-zero. So I have this memorized. I'm going to reload it and resave it out. Or do I need to do that? I don't know. I'm thinking. Yeah, I probably will resave. But this one's good. So I'm going to resave this outfit here. Some days I kind of know what I'm doing. Okay, we saved it once, so the second time it should save really fast. Okay, we're good. I'm going to hide Genesis. We're going to just render this for the thumbnail. We'll go set up the Genesis 9. Then we're going to play with the a little bit of D4 settings. I don't think I'm going to... So Monday we will probably be doing the special morphs at the rate I'm going. So I'm going to overwrite that. Okay, I want to re-save the camera. So we're going to tweak this. So basically I'm just going to make that not visible in simulations is what it comes down to. Rememorize you. Resave you as a figure prop asset. You can't see it, but it's at the bottom, but I do have it selected. And resave over that. It's a yes. And once again, I just have to say this is a prop other, and accept that. And that should be good. All right, you know what? I'm going to clean these thumbnails up real quick. So let's and I want to rename these. Let's make those capitalized. So I have to do that. Rename again. This time we'll get rid of the extra space. All right, rename you. Rename you again to get rid of the extra space. One, two, three. All right, is good. Rename you. All right. All right, now let's clean these up. Get rid of that, and that. Select this, that, and that. Resize. And then clean up the names with the renamer. Last thing I did was clean up names, so that's all good to go. And we should, when we refresh, see our pretty thumbs. Yay, pretty thumbs. Does everything say G8 female? It does, except the camera. Camera doesn't need to, though. I'm going to just copy that camera. And we're just going to paste that in over here. Okay, so ideally, we're in really good shape with the 8. We still need special morphs. And we still need to just test the D4 settings. Genesis 9, we're going to tweak our joint settings a little bit. I'm going to... What do I have for the Genesis 9? I'm going to leave this in here like this. Let's hide. Okay, so you're right there, so we're going to hide you. You're right there. You have this. And I think you got the mesh. So I'm going to save. I think that's my hierarchical material file right there for Genesis 9. Although, so I'm just going to save this for a second because we're going to work on just retweaking the weight maps if I need to. I'm Genesis 9 favorites. There we go. Click as a hierarchical material preset. This is going to be Akvo. Oh, you know what? And I have to say what figure this is. I should have done that before. Black and Aqua G9. Because so in smart content, you know this is the G9 file. I think that's good. I'm going to accept that. We do not want to save that. And we do not want to save the eyes, but we do want to save the rest of that. So I'm going to wait for that to come back. I'm going to pop back over to the Genesis 8 real quick and rename that file. Alrighty, back over here to 8. Always forget to do this, but that should actually say which figure it's for. Because it's a hierarchical material file, it will only work with the Genesis 8 with the swimsuit. This will not work with the Genesis 9, so we need to make sure that that says it in the name. So when somebody applies this to their Genesis 9 figure, we can just say, dude. So that has to see G8 female. There we go. Because this stuff will all just get dropped into smart content together. And this way you know which one's for the G8, which one's for the G9. All right, we're playing with the rigging on this thing. I'm just going to make sure I'm using the latest and greatest version, so I'm going to just delete these. And we're just going to load up whatever I have in here and make sure I haven't got some sort of funny version in here. I'm going to clear these out, and we're going to make sure that material file's working. So do I have my shaders in here? I do have my generic shaders in here. Yay. Let's grab you, and let's pop over here for just a second. I'm just going to grab those. I'm just going to pop over into here, and I'm just going to scrub it out like that. Yo, Rafid, welcome. And I'm just going to change the color just to make sure we're... All right, and now we're going to make sure the hierarchical material file is working. So select Genesis 9, double click on that. Yay! All right, we're going to tweak the rigging just a little bit. So I'm just going to check the shoulders and the thighs are the only parts that I probably need to touch at all. And it is D-Force, so we're not spending too much time. So I am making a swimsuit for Dad's Studio. We are making both Genesis 8 and Genesis 9 versions of that. You know what? I think I'm just going to do what we did before and maybe just smooth that out just a little bit. I don't think it's going to really fix it. Oh, and I do want to... and I do want to resave this with a different smoothing option. You can see these little jaggedy lines. We're going to clear that up. So anyhow, what am I doing? Weight brush. There we go. Tool settings. Let's come over here, and I'm just going to... We're working on just... I'm just going to smooth that a little bit. And I'm doing the top for Genesis 9. There we go. Somewhere down in here is a left shoulder weight map. And I'm just going to smooth that out just a little. It doesn't even do anything, does it? I'm going to change this. And let's reset that, make that a little larger. That's all I'm going to do to that. All right, now we'll just flip this over to the other side. How do we do that? Shift Y, is that it? Swap, accept. And then I'm going to just touch that up a little bit. That is, I think that's the right shoulder. That is making a little bit of a difference. I think that'll be fine. All right. Let's reset. Reset that. I think I can resave this, although I want to change my smoothing first. So this jagged is happening because I used tries on there. I did that on purpose, but it's, so to fix that, we're going to come over here. We are looking at the mesh resolution high, and we're going to change this algorithm to bilinear, and that smooths that out. And then I'm just going to resave this. This is the Genesis 9. Let's be careful not to save over Genesis 8. So we're coming down into here. And right here, I have the top. I'm going to save that. It exists. Do I want to replace it? Yep. This is all good. Set the category to be swimwear top. And accept that, and it goes and gets saved, and we should be happy. Now we're just going to do some, we're just going to check, kind of do the same thing. I'm going to bend this leg out this way, and we're going to watch that get nasty. You know, that's actually not too bad. I'm going to smooth that out just a little bit on the crotch. That looks a lot nicer than what we had on Genesis 8. Anywho, where are we at? I'm working on the bottom now. And we're looking at that left left thigh. And I'm going to switch over to this, and we're going to come over to the tool settings. I'm going to check that weight map there, and Genesis 8 is rigged different. We're actually looking at this here and this here. So these are the parts down here. It's not the thigh, but it's the thigh twists. Thigh twist 1 and thigh twist 2. I think thigh twist 1, I'm just going to smooth that out just a little bit down here. I always forget about that. I'm used to Genesis 8, so I'm over here looking at the thigh going, where's my weight maps? Where are the oh, that's right, they're over here. They're on a different part of the figure. So I'm just going to smooth you out a little bit. That's probably fine. Maybe a little more. Do I want to just do that? Yeah, that's probably good. Let's switch over. Let's swap that leg over to the other side. And then I'm just going to smooth out this right stuff right there. Back to this. I probably don't need to smooth that. I could probably just smooth this a little bit. You know, that's probably going to be fine. Let me check this other one. Do I have to do anything with that? I don't even see it. I didn't even get a weight map for that one. The other one just barely had a weight map, but it's probably okay. I think that's going to be fine. This is a deforced item, so I don't really have to worry too much about it. And I'm certainly not going to worry. Let me just see. I once had to fix a swimsuit because somebody posed it like this and complained. And that was a pain in the ass. So they bent the leg. So they went side by side. Then they bent it. Then they twisted it. And then they complained. And let's be real, the leg doesn't even look good in that pose. But you know, that's looking okay. That's not looking gross at all. I think I'm good with this. Control Shift F. I'm just going to reset that. So I'm done messing around with the weight maps on the top and the bottom. I've got to put that smoothing modifier on here, and then we're going to resave the bottom. So the bottom, we're just going to come over here to Master Resolution and switch that to bilinear. You know what? I need to memorize this, because if somebody restores that, it's going to switch back. And I got to rememorize this too. I forgot to do that. Because right now, if somebody restores that, it goes back to where it was. And I don't want that. I want it to stay here. So that's memorized. So we're going to resave the top. Swimsuit top, Genesis 9. Looking good there. Already exists. You want to replace it? Yes. This is all fine. We just got to reset the category every time we save. And I'm going to bitch about it every time I do this. Okay, then we're going to do the bottom. Save that out as a figure prop asset. Bottom. Accept that. Yep, we're going to replace that. I have to go back and rememorize the Genesis 8 version too, because I forgot to do that. Set category. Oops, I fell out of the box. And you are a top. Did I say no? You are a bottom. There we go. All right, let's get the camera on here and save this as an outfit. Hey, I got a camera down there. I'm going to reload the camera just to make sure I'm good. Did I not save? I did save that. Okay. I'm going to leave the camera right there. We're going to set up our rigid follow node on here. So I'm going to put the camera right there. So we're going to pop into the old geometry editor. Come over here to the G9 top. So I'm going to select that face there. And we're going to add a rigid follow node to that. You know what? I'm going to slide you up a little bit on the... And then we'll come over and I'm going to move you over here. And then I'm going to do this so that it actually shows up on screen. Geometry editing, nope, geometry assignment, create rigid follow node from selected. There we go. Once again, my naming is always node, underscore, and then whatever attaches to it. Camera. Accept that. Okay, now I want to figure out what part of the character we're going to put this on. So I'm going to click there. That's a spine 4. So that's, we're going to come over here to the top. And I'm looking for spine 4. So I'm going to take this node and attach it to that. Okay, now we're going to do some setup on that. I'm going to set these to 0. And then I'm going to set the min and the max. I'm still in edit mode, so I don't have to go into edit mode. Set, and I'm going to set my min and my max to 0s on those because I don't want those rotating. Okay, display. We're going to make that invisible. Okay, then I'm going to memorize. Selected item. I'm going to lock it down. And then I'm going to memorize again because I don't know if that actually does anything or not. All right, now we're going to attach the camera to this. So I'm going to take the camera and we're going to put that and drop that on that node. And then if I reset the camera, it will automatically pop. And then we're just going to pose it a little bit to fit on there a little bit better. So you know what? I'm going to pull you out. And I'm going to kind of set the camera up like that, and then we'll bend the clip to fit. I'm going to rotate that camera just a little bit. Am I using the universal tool? I am now. I think kind of somewhere in there is going to be close. So let's pose our clip. Hopefully, I can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to, there, I think I turned the headlamp on. Sometimes the lighting's a little better on that. Also, the fact the camera's black does not help things. So let's rotate this a little bit. Do I have a universal? There's my universal. So I'm going to put my clip down like maybe a little like that. Is that about right? Then maybe bend this one up. Maybe a little like that. I think I'm clipping the camera just a little bit there. Not that I can actually see what I'm doing. Maybe we use wire shaded. There we go. Now I can kind of see what I'm doing. I think that'll be fine. So I think I need to pull this stuff up just a little bit further. And I'm probably in the ballpark. Let's do a render and see how this is looking. Maybe I'll slide you out here a little bit. I should probably make that render window a little larger. It's currently set at thumbnail, which just makes it hard to see what I'm doing. I think I'm in the ballpark. I'm going to cancel that. I'm just going to switch you to iRay for just a second. So the HDRI I'm using has got this really weird explosion in the back for coloring. That's where that's coming from. And now you can see my 1.5 millimeter of displacement's popping up here. So I think I'm going to rotate my camera just a little bit. Just a little bit that way. And I think I'm just going to pull it back on the Z just a hair. Minus 0.1 maybe. And let's just make sure that that's not clipping into the Genesis 9. I think I'm in a good position there. You're going to have to tweak the camera position after rendering, after simulating anyhow. That's just the way it's going to work. I think that's fine. You know what? Maybe it'll look a little more natural, I think, if I add a little bit of rotation like that. And then I might need to slide you. Now I screwed everything all to hell. Is that good? I think that's going to be fine. I think for Genesis 9, I'm good with the camera there. So I'm going to, all right, the camera is on the note, so we're going to memorize that, and then we're going to save this out as an outfit. Should be good. And I'm going to turn iRay off because that's probably slowing everything down. Am I? I think we're good. I think I'm going to save this. I'm memorizing the camera. That's right. I've selected the camera. I'm going to come over here. We're going to memorize that figure. We're going to select you. Come back over to here and save you as outfit. Dun, 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 dun. It's a wardrobe wearable preset. There we go. Wearable preset. You're going to be Akfo exclamation point outfit Genesis 9. Genesis 9, looking good. Hit that. Okay, we don't want those eyes. We do want the bottom. We do want the top. And there's our node and our camera. So accept that. Should be good. Patiently wait a minute or so while it saves because I have the TMS running. There we go. All right, let's make some thumbnails for this. Yep. All right. All right, let's turn Genesis 9 off. Let's hide those eyes, just in case. Let's render this and say this is the thumbnail. And let me put the female shape on, because it's actually designed for that. So there we go. That's the way it's actually meant to be shaped onto a female figure. I mean, you can stick it on your dudes if you want. I'm not going to judge. All right, Control R. Also, I'm going to render out the thumbnails for the top and the bottom for this one. Save that. See, that's still the Genesis 8. Let's pop over to G9. You are going to overwrite that tip file. All right, I'm going to hide that camera. I'm going to hide the bottom. And we're just going to render the top. Why are you making... Daz makes me. I used to make them larger. But somebody at Daz said, don't do that. Somebody said, you know, you gotta make these... Charles could almost see these thumbnails. We don't want that. We want them to be smaller. So Charles can't see what the hell he's doing. They specifically mentioned you by name, too. It was a conspiracy. I'm rendering this. I don't know why they don't... what they have it in for your eyes, dude. All right, that is done. We're going to save this out. That is the top. That one says top. We're going to overwrite that. All right, we're going to hide the top and make the bottom visible, and we're going to render this out. I have to resave the tops and the bottoms over for Genesis 8, so we're going to do that real quick. We are coming up on 4 o'clock. I might do a little bit of Marvelous Designer before we call it a day. Am I done? I'm done. We'll see. I don't have a lot of time. I think that was the bottom. We're going to do that right there. Save that. I'm going to go resave the Here, we're just actually, let's do this. We're gonna fix these thumbnails. Get rid of that. That one's good. Get rid of these. Those are jank. These, I'm gonna resize those to be 91 by 91 because you know we're still making thumbnails the same size we were in 2001. back when it was called Poser. All right, I got to rename these, and it was RSR files. There's my renamer. I've already got my pattern already set, so I'm just going to hit accept that. Do this. Come over here. Refresh. There's our beautiful thumbs and our tip files. Huzzah! Okay, I got to go resave the Genesis 8 stuff again because I forgot to memorize it. You always do your... I used to do my thumbnails at that when I was making products just for Renderosity. And I used to not bother with thumbnails either. because Daz, if there's not actually thumbnail there, it will just take the tip file and shrink it. So it's like, I don't need a 91 by 91 file. That's a waste of space. You can make them larger, but you know, our friends at Daz said, nope, you got to have a separate 91 by 91 file, and your tip files need to be 256 by 256. It's the law. All right, I'm going to resave this because I forgot to memorize it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to memorize the top. I'm going to memorize the bottom. I'm going to resave the top. We're going to come back over here to Genesis 8. And there's the top. Save over that. The loo. Mean Le Pew? I'm not sure. Did I miss something? Oh, Le Pew, converted materials to octane. You always do 98 thumbs. Yeah, I get making bigger thumbs, but I'm not allowed to. Target file already exists. Am I replacing that? Yes. I got to do this again. I'm doing the top, aren't I? Yep, I'm doing the top. Swimwear top. Swimwear top. There we go. Accept. All right, we're going to save the bottom. And swimwear bottom. I think I did that, but I wasn't paying attention. I got to do that again. I blinked at the last moment and forgot what I was doing. Okay, I got that. All right, should be good. Now I'm just going to resave the wearable preset over. Nope. That was Genesis 9. Oh. Did I save that in the right spot? I did save that in the right spot. Okay. All right. Okay, we're not saving this over the Genesis 9 version. Very important. There's the Genesis 8 version. I'm going to save over that. Say yes. Accept. And then I'm just going to quickly add some special morphs in here. We'll do that real quick. We're just going to do the hanging morphs and maybe the on the ground morphs. And then Monday we'll pick up the other special morphs. So we'll start doing those. So I'm going to launch Marvelous Designer. I know. Tell me about that. 256 by 256 is too small. What can I do? Fight the man. So for these, I'm not going to load in. We're just going to do morphs that will not be on the figure. So I'm going to make a couple of hanging morphs, and then I'm going to make a couple of ground morphs. I think I may be able to just get that done with the top, and then we'll call it a day. Anyhow, boy, you are big today, aren't you? Let's get you to fit the screen a little bit better, maybe. And then we'll pick up on Monday, and we'll probably do the rest of the special morphs. The things like the off-the-shoulder morphs and things like that. So that's what's up next. I'm going to do import add, obj to garment. We are looking for projects, beach party, sporty swim, whip, and I just need, it doesn't make any difference if I use the Genesis 8 or the Genesis 9 version for what I'm doing right now. It will make a difference later, so, but for right now, I'm just going to do, let's do the top. I'm going to open that, and I'm going to go get a hanger. I have a hanger. We're going to hang this on a hanger. Import add obj. Let's go get my hanger. It's over here in projects. Somewhere down here. And actually, I'm calling it hanger 2 as my current hanger avatar shape. So I'm going to position this right up here. We're just going to move you. Boy, you're being a butt, aren't you? Let's just put you up over here. So I'm just going to hang the shirt, hang the top on the hanger. It's pretty good. I'm going to give this a little extra thickness. Just we'll just put that at 5. Okay, all right. There's a morph. Let's export that out, file, and let's see if this loads in. File, obj selected. I need to go back to my projects. The beach party. Back to the beach. Sporty swim. There we are. Whip. Do I have a morph folder yet? I don't have a morph folder yet. Let's make a morph folder. Let's come into here. New folder. Top G8F. And you're just going to be hanging 01. Let's do that. All right, let's make sure this is looking good. I'm going to hide. I'm going to take this off the figure. Actually, let's do this. Let's hide you. Let's just bring the top in. That's a Genesis 9 top, but it shouldn't make a difference. I should be able to use either one. But we'll double check, because I'm a little paranoid today. And that is the Genesis 9 top. And we should be able to do Genesis 8, so let's do this. I've got Genesis 8 top selected. I'm going to come over here, more floater. But that's normally you would... I have a button for everything on the sides. Well, not everything, but stuff that I do an insane amount. Where is this? It's Assets, more floater, Pro. It's over here. But I, of course, have a button, so it's faster. And then we're just going to go get the morph target. And I am in the Meadow Muse folder. We are going back to the beach. And my sporty swim. And whip. And morphs. And the top. And there's my hanging morph. So let's load that in and let's see how that goes. It says it's successfully completed. So there it is. This should, there you go. We've got our hanging morph done. And let's just double check that the Genesis 9 works too. So these morphs I can use for either one because they're not on a figure. They're not figure dependent. So I'm just going to knock them out. Hey, I think that worked. I think that worked. Yep, looks good. All right, I'm going to knock out the other top morphs, and then we're going to call it a day. We're going to just back this up. I don't need that hanger anymore. I just needed it for that one morph. I'm just going to hold on to one strap here, and then we're just going to let that drop down. Then we're going to do a couple on the ground. And that's going to be it for my off-the-body morphs. There's my pin lasso. You know what? We're just going to grab that strap right there. Maybe a little bit less. I think I'm just going to grab that strap right there. Let it go. Select that. I'm going to set that to be... Alright, that's going to be hanging too. File, export, OBJ selected. And I'm just going to knock out the other morphs right now, and then we'll load them all in together. So there is hanging 2. All right, I'm going to undo all of that. I'm going to set that back to 5. All right, let's drop it to the ground. All right, there we go, on the ground 1. On ground. 01. Okay. All right, let's take that. And now I'm just going to lay it down on the ground neat. So I like to have one where it's like balled up and one where it's kind of like you've laid it out nice and neat. Let's see, did that? And I'm just going to, you know, that's about as good as that's probably going to get. And that's going to be on the ground too. Am I still, okay, yep. And then we'll just export that out. Export OBJ selected on the ground too. And save that. And okay. All right, I don't need to save this. So next time we will bring in an avatar and start doing the Genesis 8 ones, and then we'll do the Genesis 9s for the stuffs like the pull the straps around and stuff like that. We will pick that up on Monday. Let's get these in. I don't actually need Marvelous Designer anymore. Well, I might, but let me... How do you get D-Force to work that? Yeah, D-Force is a marvel, isn't it? They've upgraded it. You didn't get the upgrade, Charles? They didn't tell you? And then we'll just grab all of those. I've already got the hanging one in here, but we'll do this. I should be able to accept that, and boom, boom, boom. All is good. We can do this with the G9 top as well. Grab those. Accept, boom, boom, boom. All looks good there. That's true. They've got it in for you, man. I'm sorry. Let's just double check how our morphs are looking. Yay. 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 All right, we're happy with those. I'm going to save these out. We're going to do a little bit of touch-up on these first. I'm going to grab all of this. We're still in edit mode, by the way. So while I'm in edit mode, I'm going to move these. Well, actually, I'm going to color them. we're going to give them a cool color. So we're going to set, and you can't see that because it's flipping off to the side, but I'm going to set presentation, and we're going to color those dials. So now these dials have this cool color, and now we're going to move these over into the actor category. And so we're going to just say set property group, and I'm going to put that in actors. And there isn't a special in here, so we're going to add special and accept that. And now when you come over here underneath actor, there is the special, and there's our morphs. And now we're going to save those out. So these are going to be saved out as modifier assets. I, of course, have a button for that. But if you don't have that button, you would find that over here in File, Save as Support Assets, Modifier Assets. And I'm just going to come over here. We choose Base. I'm going to click on this. We're going to come down here. Those are the morphs we just saved. So I'm going to click the whole group and save that out. Okay, now we're just going to do this for that Genesis 9 top. And then we're calling it a day. We're going to look for a raid target here. So if you're hanging out here with us on Twitch, we are going to be raiding out. If you're on YouTube, thank you for being here. And yeah, we're not done. We're almost done. We're almost done. Where's my morphs? There they are. Okay, I'm going to move this over so I can just, so you can kind of see what we're doing. Hey, Matthias, it was good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. All right, we are going to set our color with this. Same thing we did before for Genesis 8. Actually, I want that color there. And then I use this color here. And then we accept that. And now these dials have colors. Now we're going to move these. We're going to set our property group. And this is going to go over to actor. And I don't have a special category yet, so I'm going to type that in. And then I'm going to say accept that. Now we just pop over here, take a look. We'll just double check and make sure those are looking fine. Yeah, these are fine. Yep, I think we're good. Should be good. And then I'm just going to, and I don't have to actually save the figure prop asset. I can just save the morphs. So that's kind of convenient. I don't want you. We're going to clean these up later on. But for right now, I just want to make sure these morphs get saved out. All right. And toilet is on. Sounds good. All right. This is where we're going to leave off. We are getting there slowly but surely. What do we got left to make this a product? We've got the materials with things we still have to do. So right here, we have our thumbnails made. We have our base items. We have our little accessory. We have everything together in a complete outfit. We've so far got Genesis 8 and Genesis 9 versions. Today, we set up all our material files. We have to do the D-Force presets. And I have to set up a whole bunch of hierarchical material files. And we're adding the special morphs. So Monday we're doing the special morphs, and then we still have to do D-Force presets, and we have to come up with some hierarchical material files. That's where we're going to do some mixing and matching. And I think I'm going to probably do maybe 16 of these. We'll do 8 clean versions, and then we'll just basically do the worn versions. So that's on tap still. So getting there. Anyhow, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. I'm going to say bye to YouTube. Then over in the Twitch, we're going to go raid our good friend Toilet After Dark. Thanks. And hey, thanks everybody for popping in on the YouTube. I see Art, Matthias, and we also had, was LePew over there? I can't remember. There was somebody else. Somebody new popped in and said hi. Rafed popped in and said hi. I saw that. I think, yeah, we did see Matthias. Quasi popped in too. I saw Quasi. That's right. Yeah, take care, y'all. Anyhow, everybody on YouTube, bye. We're signing off the YouTube.